Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to program Insight in V News English. Dear viewers, 27th February 2019 was historic day when Pakistan Air Force carried out successful strikes. These strikes were carried out in response to an earlier Indian aggression against Pakistan. So as a result of strikes by Pakistan, 2 Indian Air Force fighter jets were shot down and subsequently Indian fighter pilot Abhinandan was captured. In today's conversation, we will discuss the comparison between Indian Air Force and Pakistan Air Force in terms of capability, human resource, technology, and everything. But more precisely, we will also compare Indian fighter jets Tejas with GF Thunder 17. That what is the actual difference and why GF Thunder 17 is still successful, still in high demand by a number of countries, and look at Indian fighter jet Tejas, which are continuously bringing bad name to Indian Air Force in terms that there are frequent incidents of its air crash. And we will also discuss the air power, new technology, beyond GF Thunder 17, what is Pakistan's future plans, and briefly we will discuss the use of air power in Afghanistan as well. We are fortunate to have with us Air Marshal retired Farhat Hussain Khan, former Vice Chief of Air Staff of Pakistan Air Force. Very warm welcome to program Insight in V News English. So since it is an historic day and every year on 27th of February it is discussed operations the swift retort, and there was also a function which was attended by Air Chief Marshal on the occasion. He also made remarks, paid tribute to those fighter pilots and those all team members of Pakistan Air Force who brought huge honor to Pakistan back in 2019. So I would just like to seek your comment that what was that motivation? In 2019 it happened, and then subsequently in 2025 again it was, although there were Pakistan Army as well, but it was primarily the air power which won this battle of Marka-e-Haq against India. So how you see 2019 Air Force comparing it right now?
As far as 2019 is concerned, we all know what happened, but briefly speaking, it was a so-called terrorist attack in Pulwama. In Pulwama, that killed 40 of the Central Reserve Force police of in India, which created the scenario. Although the world over, people did not acknowledge it to be immediately. Why? Because Pakistan offered an independent inquiry into this.
Exactly, we still remember.
But somehow, since it was a false flag operation, the objectives were different. So the negotiations were not to be. So therefore, they continued going on their own path, and they decided to launch an aerial attack on so-called terrorist camps that in Pakistan in Balakot on the 26th night. That attack was a classic example of how not to use air power. Because what they did was they selected a night. It was a cloudy night, not well trained to fly nights, and that too precision tracks. The objective was not very clear.
Objective was not
very clear, and I will come to that subsequently. What were the perceived objectives? First, in my view, the objective was a political totally, because the elections were coming after 10 weeks in India. So the Prime Minister Modi was trying to exploit the Indo-Pakistan sentiments. So therefore, he did not listen to anybody and decided to attack. As it would happen, usually, ill-prepared strikes, there was no damage on ground. They could not hit any place. And the aircraft went back without that. Now, what was the military objective? It's very grey. They probably wanted to, did a miscalculation by saying that, we'll go through and Pakistan will not react. I don't think not reacting to an enemy's air violation is Pakistan's tradition. We've always been reacting to it because we follow the...
Whenever there has been violation of airspace.
So therefore, this failed strike did no damage, but created a situation of conflict between the two nations. Pakistan, which had already declared that if you violate, we will
Respond.
We will respond. So the plans are all ready. It was comprehensively practiced also. So a multi-mission kind of a package was made, which had strike aircraft, escorts, jammers, airborne early warning, and the sweep aircraft. A mix of Mirages, JF-17s, and F-16s. Now our leadership in the Air Force and the country was clear about one thing, that we must keep the escalation ladder in our hand. Do not take a reaction to that level that the conflict escalates further, since they had not done any damage on ground. So therefore, following that strategy, the targets were engaged, but when it came to dropping the weapon on ground, the sight aiming point was moved away from the military position.
I see. It was deliberately?
It was deliberately moved away so that we only tell them we are capable of damaging it,
certain
but we're not
locations
causing a damage.
I see.
We're capable of doing it, but we're not causing. So what did we achieve by this? We had a long standing strategy of deterrence. And deterrence means you tell the enemy that we are not aggressive with you. We don't have any offensive designs. But if you become offensive and come on us, we will cause so much of damage that we will not be able to tolerate. So Pakistan Air Force and Pakistan's armed forces established the strategy of deterrence through a proactive approach.
Since Indian Air Force has a lot of fighter jets of different brands and different kinds, there was light combat aircraft known as TJAS. So would you like to also share the history of TJAS, that this light combat aircraft, when it was developed, and why it couldn't sustain? And we have seen over last many years, there have been frequent incidents of its air crash.
As far as this Tejas is concerned, it's a light combat aircraft, initially also called LCA, that Indian Air Force started developing in 1980.
1980 it was.
1980.
Indigenous?
Indigenous program was launched in 1980 to develop a light combat aircraft for replacement of their aging fleet. Now, to aging fleet means at that time frame, 1980, their Air Force, which was fourth largest Air Force of the world in numbers, had a large list of aircraft that were to be replaced in 15-20 years. They had almost a list of 850 aircraft that were to be replaced
by that time,
by 1995 to 2000. So this program was launched as a fighter aircraft replacement of the aging fleet, and therefore they had planned to induct it in large numbers. This is one. That's the history of launching it.
True.
After they launched it, their strategy was to, which in my view was not the correct strategy at that stage, was to design, develop and manufacture everything in-house.
In-house.
In-house. Now, Indian Air Force, Indian military aviation industry has a background of developing one more aircraft, which is called HF-24 in 70s.
But HF-24.
HF-24. That aircraft did not make much reputation, so it was just phased out.
Phased out.
So they did not have a very solid design development capability, but to show the world that we are a large Air Force, We can do everything. So they decided to design, develop totally indigenously, saying that we will do it on our own. This was the strategy that we followed. Now, for an industry which does not have all the capability, first time designing a fighter aircraft. Now remember, fighter aircraft are very sensitive. There is one pilot and rest is all aircraft, avionics and all that. It is to be seen in 3 dimensions. Airframe, the structure, avionics, the eyes of the pilot, and the weapons. Now, all these areas, they said, we will design our own aircraft. We will develop our own avionics. We will develop our own weapons. And we will develop our own engine.
True.
They decided to not realizing till today, at that time, till 1980s, even the Russian and the Chinese had problem in developing good engines. The engine technology was exclusive domain of the West. So, and similarly, they said, we will develop our own ISR radar. Now, this was not possible in the first attempt.
True.
Similarly, so many other things. So, therefore, they continued to face problems. And one thing that happened was in 1999, when Pakistan and India got sanctions because of nuclear, the Teja also came under this. Why? Because they were planning to, although they were planning to develop their own engine, but for short term, they were asking the USF, United States to provide an engine and the flight control system. Both these things became not available. So this was one major factor. Radar they could not develop. The manufacturing capability. So all this combined together, the program was delayed by a number of years. It started off in 1980.
And it was delayed for years and years.
The first aircraft flew after 21 years of conception launch.
So long time, 2 decades.
In 2001, after spending billions of dollars.
Billions of dollars.
In 2001, after 20 years, they did not have an engine. So they had a borrowed engine in this. So this
after spending 20 years, again it was a borrowed engine.
It was a borrowed engine from the United States, F404. So this is how it went. Now, in the aviation technology, you have to be off the market. No one can afford to be delaying the technology induction, because then it becomes obsolete. Then it met the fate of obsolescence. And then they started finding replacements. They found an Israeli radar as a replacement, which was not as good, which is now also on board. They then got the USF, United States, to support in the engine. They agreed, but the engine is delayed till today. So they have only till today, imagine 1981, 2001, first aircraft, and then 2003, second aircraft got airborne. But the production started in 2016.
In 2016?
And the first aircraft became operational, first squadron became operational in 2021. This is the, till today, they only have about 32 aircraft in operation. So this wrong strategy of developing everything yourself took them to the stage of delays and obsolescence. Therefore, it became irrelevant to the level that even the Indian Air Force is not wanting to have it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The main Air Force which wanted to employ it.
Major change that has taken place is, earlier on it was supposed to replace all retiring aircraft. No more. It is no more a platform which will replace all aircraft. It will continue to be inducted by force, by the government. Indian Air Force is not too keen to have it. It's not a favorite of the Indian Air Force.
So ultimately what happened now, even a couple of days back, we have seen there was also this Tejas frequent these air crashes, and finally what happened? It has been grounded now?
Actually, present announcement is temporary grounding after an accident. Temporary grounding of the aircraft is done when you see some technical problem, but you do not know what the problem is. And you take some time to find out the problem. So they will investigate what the problem is, then they may recover that problem and then put it back online. However, like I said, it has hit obsolescence. I mean, 81 now, it is 40 years plus.
40 years.
The airframe is old. The avionics are not worth it. They are wanting to upgrade it, but in my view, they will not be able to do that. So therefore, it will continue to make this fate. And as you know, in the last May conflict, you did not see it anywhere. So it is neither a battle-tested platform, neither a relevant platform, nor combat ready.
How you compare Tejas versus GF Thunder 17? So, and also share the technical reason why GF Thunder 17 went successful. What is the difference, Tejas versus GF Thunder 17?
I like to compare it in two domains. First, the operational capability, and second, the development model that will expose the pluses and minuses of these two platforms, these two weapon systems. Actually, the capability is once again compared, operational capability in terms of what you have on the aircraft.
Of any fighter jet.
Of any fighter. What you have on the aircraft in terms of weapons and avionics, what kind of a training do you have of the pilots? So it's an overall package that comes of the airframe. Now, the JF-17 today is a battle-tested platform.
Beautiful. Battle-tested
platform. It has proved its combat potential in all roles that anyone would like to know. For instance, it has proved its combat is beyond visual range air combat. It has proved its worth in surface attack by shooting down the S-400 battery in India. It is a verified combat proven air-to-sea capability in long range. Air-to-sea capability. So it's a true multi-role aircraft at a very low cost and operationally viable. It does not come in the category of high expensive weapons. Therefore, it is a weapon of choice today of middle air forces. On the comparison, when you compare the two platforms, that is JF-17 and Teja, the development model. JF-17 development model is very different from the Teja. Let me say in very simple words, the PAF vision was very clear. We are very proud of our leadership. They've been thinking very, wise. They said, do what you can.
Do what you can.
Easy to difficult. Known to unknown.
Known to unknown.
What you can, let's do it. What you can't, let's learn it from the jointness. And borrow technology. And next time we attempt it independently. So what we did was, we had, frankly speaking, at that time, not to the level of acceptance, the design capability. So we decided to go with the Chinese. Okay, you take the major share in design, we will be with you so that we can learn it through the program. If I remember correctly, from the drawing board to first rollout, I think its record is 22 months.
22 months.
Versus 10 years, 12 years of India Force.
22 months versus 10 years.
So this strategy versus developing everything inside as the Indian strategy, what has it brought? The JF-17 was conceived in 1992 to 94. 14 years after the Tejas.
1992 to 1994.
12 to 14 years after the concept, the launch of Teja. Okay. Now, the rollout of the first aircraft, Teja was 2001 and ours is 2003.
2003,
so, exactly. So 12 years gap, caught up and left with 2 years only. And their first aircraft production started in 2016. In 2009, our first operational aircraft was produced. In fact, we flew the testing platform in 2007, on 23rd March 2007. So started 12 to 14 years after Teja, caught up on the operations. Now it's far ahead of Teja. Now look at the success of strategy of development of a fighter aircraft. That is how you see, you need to keep your feet on ground. I always say, keep your feet on ground. Now think what you can do. Let's do what we can do. No one today makes a complete aircraft.
No one.
No one. And there are,
Continuous changing.
industries. Like if you, what does the Eurofighter? It's not of one, it's entire Europe that has combined hand made a fighter. F-35, Turkey was in it, Europe was in it, America is in it. So these are expensive businesses. So no one makes a complete aircraft. So our strategy of proceeding from known to unknown versus a complete darkness that they went into, so the Teja had to fail. And I remember there was a very interesting book of an Indian test pilot who flew the Teja first time that we just used to discuss it with our chief designer of the JF-17. So the success story is purely because of the strategy of development.
Why India didn't learn any lesson and why it attacked Pakistan? And then ultimately got a befitting response. Question completed.
I'll take you back by about 30 years. I've been in India as air attaché. I've seen the Air Force inside out. It technically is the fourth largest Air Force.
Upward.
My assessment is it has a size, but it's not larger than its size.
Beautiful.
I would like to, this is my own evaluation, I would like to respect that professionally as a fighter pilot and give it due credit for its numbers and professionalism. But not beyond that.
Not beyond that.
Why? Let me substantiate my this argument. We'll come to the engagements later on. I have seen the Indian Air Force, in two areas, they have been lagging behind, they lag behind today.
Two areas of Indian Air Force.
Number one is training. You see, training of pilots is an absolute essential that gives confidence to the commander to deploy him aggressively. A well-trained pilot will always go aggressive.
So that training is not up to the mark?
I'll go through. You know, in 1980, they wanted to buy a trainer aircraft. They evaluated two aircraft. 1980. Alpha Jet of France and Hawk of British Aerospace. They were both found fit for operations and they recommended to the government, we can buy any one of those. And this was in 94. And the bureaucratic government in India never allowed them to buy it. So this created a huge gap. Finally, a trainer was inducted in 2000.
In 2000?
2000. That too, after a
deliberation started in 1980?
Yes. That too was inducted after a lesson of Kargil.
Oh my goodness.
That we needed a trainer. So what was the training cycle that they were following? The basic training cycle of a pilot is basic training in the academy. Then you go to fighter training immediately after academy.
True.
Then you go to operational training after that. Then of course goes very specialist training. These four steps were so weak in Indian Air Force. I have been to their academy more than once. Their basic training was on a piston engine aircraft and a Polish aircraft of World War. Jet. So these two aircraft produced pilots which now had no aircraft to fly. So they would put them on the MiG-21s. Now from an absolute trainer
to MiG-21
to a MiG-21 Mark II aircraft, this was a jump not absorbable for new beginning beginners. So the training gap continued till they inducted this aircraft. So imagine for 20 years you are having pilots who are not confident in their training.
True.
This is one. Second, this showed somewhere else also. Now, this is again, they had high-tech aircraft at that time. Was the only Mirage 2000. They bought the Su-37, Su-30. And I've seen firepower demonstration of Su-30 also. Su-30 was famous in India of not the choice of the Indian Air Force. Indian Air Force never wanted to buy it, and it was imposed on it by the political government. It was, this was one. So the training methodology of flying lacked that basic and advanced training that a pilot must get before he gets to the operation.
True.
This was valid in tactics schools. This was valid in A2 ground. All this combined together created a gap of about 20 years. So those pilots who were trained in those 20 years obviously will deliver the way they are trained. It is always said, you fight the way you train.
So, second last question, this one in Marka Haq 2025. Of course, air power was utilized by Pakistan Air Force, and Pakistan's armed forces also gave a befitting response. Along with line of control, it was military, and air power was used by Pakistan Air Force. What was the winning point? That every country around the world is looking at Pakistan. So what was the turning point in that air battle, that from smaller countries, from Iraq to Myanmar and Somalia and Nigeria and so many countries are looking at Pakistan? Bangladesh recently, before election, their air chief came and requested Pakistan Air Force that Bangladesh Air Force wanted to revamp its entire system with the help of Pakistan Air Force. So, what is the motivation?
Exactly, sir. Let me once again take you back. The strength of the PAF, we've always believed that we will never be able to match numbers.
We will?
We will never be able to match numbers because our economy doesn't afford that large fleet.
True.
So we always concentrate on two things: training and technology.
I see. These are two important things.
Let's take lead in training, and the technology-wise, we should be ahead of them. These both factors stick, and this can only be done by a visionary leader. So therefore, in this conflict in 25, we had well-trained Air Force.
Well-trained Air Force.
Very aggressive in design. Not ready to give up the battle. So therefore, based on this training, we had trained our pilots with the long-range BVR missile that is the PL-15. You know, we had
True.
PL-15 has technological edge over all the weapons that the Indian have.
PL-15 missiles.
They had a missile on Rafale, more or less same category. The aircraft are more or less same category. It is the employment that made the difference. Then the next thing is the leadership.
Leadership
in my view, the leadership made a huge difference because the leaders' aggressiveness in planning and solid decision making for the occasion with high-tech weapons. These are the two surprises that the Indian Air Force had from us. That is the leadership at a PF. Leader was big surprise for them. And the weapon, PL-15, was yet another surprise for them. These two surprises, along with a good bunch of Marshal or well-trained pilots, made the difference. And they surprised the Indian Air Force to the level that after getting shot, the 6 or 7 aircraft, for 2 days, the Indian Air Force did not fly.
For 2 days?
2 days did not fly. And when they flew, they stayed 200 kilometers inside. It was a total battle of supremacy that Pakistan Air Force had won.
So coming from this 2025, this Marka Haq with India to this conflict with Afghanistan in October 2025, there was first conflict, and this new operation that has been launched now in response to earlier Afghan unprovoked aggression against Pakistan. mainly whatever Pakistan targeted from Kabul to Kandahar, most of the terrorist camps, it was all through use of air power as well. So how you see this is battle against terrorism, and in this battle, Pakistan's leadership has, military, political leadership has made it clear, not against the innocent people of Afghanistan, but against terrorists. How you see the use of air power along with the other technologies, of course, on the ground, on the border posts, the soldiers have been fighting, but air power ultimately made it possible.
Mateen sab, actually, first the air power. If you look back even in the subcontinent and the nearby regions, 2019 with India, then 2025 our conflict again with India, and look at what is happening in the Middle East, and look
True.
at what happened in the Middle East, in the Iran
Conflict.
It was mainly the air power that was in action throughout these conflicts. So over a period of time, air power getting high tech with precision weapons has become a weapon of choice available to any military or political leader to achieve political oblique military objective.
True.
So air power is a weapon of choice available to any leader for achieving the objective. That is one. This is now well established. So therefore, here also we see the air power employment. So now we're coming back to what the present situation of Afghanistan. It is very unfortunate, to say the least. We were being, targeted in our cities. Last, the Islamabad blast.
Exactly.
And before that,
6th
what
of
is
February.
happening is 6th of February. Before that, 12 of the cities in
Banu and Bajor, and then Bakkar and Balochistan, 12 cities
everywhere.
came same day, coordinated attacks.
And these were being carried out with the support of elements in Afghanistan.
True.
And Pakistan government was trying for quite some time to cool it down and telling Afghanistan, please do not allow your territory to be used for terrorism. It was also in line with the Doha Accord that signed. So this was it, and there was a round of discussion in Turkey.
Diplomacy was given a chance.
Diplomacy was given a chance, but somehow it was now going out of proportion. So therefore, Pakistan decided to react to it, and Pakistan has reacted and given them a befitting reply.
True.
But my assessment is that since we are neighbors, since we are two Muslim brothers, we must cool it down and respect each other's sovereignty and get to the table again, because end of the day, war is end of the table. So therefore, I think Pakistan made a last, Pakistan didn't want to get into this, made all the efforts through diplomatic means and other involvements, but didn't bring fruit. So therefore, it is getting worse and worse every day. So therefore, the reaction was to be there, and then knowing the Afghanistan and Pakistan, there is no comparison in the military strength. In fact, particularly the air power. So therefore,
they don't have.
Yeah. The second element that goes in the favor of air power is the air power stays above the grounds and less vulnerable as compared to the land forces. Plus, air power has a long-range weapons in unmanned platforms that can deliver weapons deep inside. So therefore, the air power once again got selected as a weapon of choice. But the developments in the last 2 days are very unfortunate. And I think, I pray that we bring it to a halt soon. Both countries' leadership should work. Pakistan has been working. I hope the Afghans understand the delicacy.
So Pakistan, Air Marshal Sahab always wanted that Afghan Taliban must address Pakistan's security concerns. And as you previously spoke about, that diplomacy was given a chance, and you spoke with objective and with sincerity that ultimately everything needs to be discussed on negotiation table. So what option we have to eliminate this scourge of terrorism? Of course, it has become a big challenge. Every day almost there is an intelligence-based operation in Balochistan and KP and most of the attackers, suicide bombers, turned out to be of Afghan origin.
Yes, Afghan origin, because after the start of Soviet invasion of Soviet Union to
First.
Afghanistan, then the next 40 years, there was, Afghanistan was a volatile country.
There was a
And
jihad.
there were 3 to 4 million people coming that came to Pakistan. We've tried to send most of them back, but I don't think so many, there would be still a lot of people. The next generation is still here. And so their sympathizers could still be here. So there are sometimes, they would use the local sympathizer to do the job. So it makes their job easy. But having said that, it's a very undesirable act on their part. They are Muslims. It's an interim government, not recognized by the world. So for their own sake, they should behave maturely and balancedly and create their own image of good leadership. But unfortunately, they have failed to do that so far. And Pakistan had to come to this stage that we had to react militarily to snub the terrorism. But one thing is there, as also indicated yesterday by Mr. Modi and Netanyahu.
This is what my next question is, that this Netanyahu and meeting with the Modi in Israel. Yes.
I think, in my view, Afghanistan does not have that kind of a strength that they can do so much that they've done so far to us. They are being supported by the foreign elements like India.
Multiple other elements.
Yesterday became very open when they declared a strategic alliance between Israel and and decided to develop, fund Afghanistan for its development. Now we all know the intentions. What obvious is it?
Obvious.
So the money will flow into Afghanistan again, create a problem for Pakistan. So there is a very big, large foreign element engaged in Afghanistan against the security of Pakistan. That also that can only be snubbed through military means, probably.
So this now specifically, as you briefly gave reference of Modi's meeting with Netanyahu, all eyes are focused this growing Israeli-Indian defense collaboration. Israel is quite rich in defense technology and things like that. So do you see that this growing defense collaboration and cooperation is again aimed against Pakistan?
Actually, when you look at it, when this cooperation to large extent is one-sided, that means India is buying technologies.
From Israel.
From Israel. This present contract is also probably 9 to 9.5 billion or $9.7 billion. They actually, India, after having beaten in 2019 and now feels they need to upgrade their armed force to some level that they can counter Pakistan.
True.
So therefore, they are now all out in the market to buy things for,
revamping, upgrading system.
Upgrading. They've invested heavily out of this 9.7. Most of it goes to the unmanned platforms. They only have UAVs of Israeli origin. They have weapons of Israeli origin on their aircraft. They have weapon pods on their fighter aircraft. They have systems, radars installed on Jaguar and on this LCA aircraft. And then, so they already are cooperating in this area in big field. Now probably they have decided to cooperate to a large scale in the unmanned domain. That is what the new dimension could be. So we saw this in 2025 May when the conflict was there. A lot of help coming from India, from Israel to India. This development has to be looked seriously, and
this Indian-Israeli development,
and we need to keep an eye at that.
So finally, one sentence: the future security scenario of the region, growing security challenges, where Pakistan stands in terms of defense and air power.
Actually,
War looming over
Pakistan-
Iran, and then Afghanistan, and then hostile India. Yes.
Yes, it's a very critical situation. We on our western border is hot, and the Middle East is any time go. Any conflict in the Middle East, particularly Iran and US or Iran, is going to be very
Disastrous.
disaster for the region, and will have lasting effects on Pakistan, because that's the in my view, we have a lot to do in terms of strengthening our national security on our western side, and going through some diplomatic efforts in the Middle East side. And then, of course, India is always there as an enemy, and we need to always watch out for this. This is a very complicated security scenario that is confronted to the Pakistan government and the military. Therefore, they need to really keep an eye at everything east, west, and south.
Thank you so much indeed, Air Marshal Retired Farhat Hussain Khan Saab, former Vice Chief of Air Staff of Pakistan Air Force, for very insightful conversation from Indian Tejas to GF Thunder 17, security challenges, and not only security challenges, but at the same time, you shared a vision that how important is the technology and human resource. And Pakistan Air Force has, alhamdulillah, as you said, not only the technology, but the best brains as well. One of the finest trained pilots who have been flying these fighter jets. So thank you so much once again, despite your very, very busy time. You spared time and participated in our program. Dear viewers, till our next program, goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.